the way they talk about their technical solutions and also the market potential. Overall, my suggestion would be to use all of the comments and observations, because this is a step up in every way for each one of you. And get ready for the next pitches in terms of your financial forecast, maybe the pre-money valuation of the company that we discussed today, the equity that you're willing to offer to the investor, and to talk actually more about your exit strategy and in terms of the perspective for the investor, so that each one of us can see like basically what we gain if we invest the money and what we can expect as the return. That's just some general advice for all of you, but in general we are quite happy with the presentations. We saw many different promising solutions today, and I do hope that all of you will reach the market with pivoting or without, and I wish you all lots of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pavlovich. Mr. Vladimir Pavlovich.
Thank you, Katarina, for these great remarks. I would agree with all that Katarina mentioned. So apart from the processes when you're applying for the grants, when you speak with the investors, it's very important to underline all these aspects that Katarina mentioned: valuation, what size of the financing you need, what would be equity stake, etc., etc. I would add just a couple more my impressions. My impression that all of you are, I would say, in love with your products, and we are happy to see that you have very great products that you are presenting to us. In the future, maybe put a little bit more emphasis and elaborate how your products will be sold to your potential clients in the future. We can see that you're all very optimistic about the future revenues. Please also divide those revenues per category of your clients to understand which client you will approach by some different way of acquiring them. It's great that we saw some estimations for the client acquisition costs, but it's good then to see what is the let's say expected revenues per client in a year and over the life of your clients. So those things can be also beneficial. So not just the product, but also this business model and how you are going to do great business out of what you invented so far. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we all share some of the views of the jury as well, who are present here, and we thank the members of the jury for their excellent work. And now, with no further ado, I would like to ask Mr. Nikolaos Voros from University of Peloponnese in Patras, Greece, to pronounce the winners of the special awards and the overall winner of today's speech.
Okay. Thank you, Boris. Thank you all for the excellent work and effort. I think it's really challenging to select between highly competitive ideas. So let me start with the Best Innovation Solution Award, which is awarded to 5G Isotech from Serbia. Congratulations.
This is the best technical solution.
Best Innovative Solution Award.
Yeah, that's right. The Best Innovative Solution Award. That's right.
we continue with the Best Market Potential Award, which is awarded to Mizon SA from Greece. I'm not sure if
Thank
we
you.
have a representative from Mizon
No, we are remote.
online.
Yeah.
So
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
congratulations.
We will send you the award by mail. So
Personally, I'm in a quarantine because I have COVID the last 2 days, so I couldn't be there anyway.
Last but not least, we have the Certificate of Excellence, which is awarded to Farmbot from Serbia. Congratulations.
okay, thank you. And with this announcement and rewards winner for the overall winner of the pitch today, Farmbot DO from Serbia. We congratulate them on a most excellent presentation today, and we are hoping to see you run a successful business and stay in touch. And please do not hesitate to contact us and DHIs that are included in this project. For the others, we wish them well, and we hope that they will manage to improve their presentation. We'll be sending you anonymous evaluation reports individually, privately, of your own presentation, so you know how to improve your scores in the future. However, this is not the end. We are now starting and continuing with the training sessions for all the companies in the Southeast Europe. And the first step in that is to start the training on how to apply for our open calls. So this would be your first chance to gain further funding, and not just to the pitchers, but also to other companies that have joined us today. Our first presentation of the training session will be given by Mr. Christos Antonopoulos. No, sorry, by Maite Karasedo from Funding Box Accelerator. My mistake. Maite, I'm sorry. You have the floor. You can share the screen and your presentation.
Okay, good morning. Thank you for inviting me. Can you confirm you can hear me?
Yes, we can see you and we hear it.
Okay, I'm going to start sharing my screen. So, give me a second. So thank you for inviting us to this presentation. I'm working at Funding Box, and Funding Box is the partner responsible for distributing the funding in this project, where companies can test the different solutions. As was introduced yesterday, there are 3 different types of open calls, and we are about to launch the FTTA open call. So I will give you a short introduction about the scope and the type of open calls and the kind of applicants and so on. And then some of my colleagues in the consortium will give you more details, guidelines, and tips on how you should apply to this open call. At the end of our presentations, there will be a time for questions and answers. And there also will be my colleague Antonio Montalvo, who is the project manager in this project, working in this aspect. And then, without much delay, let's start with the introduction to this open call, FTTE, that stands for Focused Technology Transfer Experiments. And this is indeed the goal, right? So we are looking for a collaboration between 2 entities from different countries, okay, that will transfer the knowledge around low energy computing for cyber-physical systems and IoT on one of the 4 verticals that are treated in this SMART4ALL project. So as you may know at this stage, this is about products or services on the area of transport, agriculture, environment, and also digitize anything which is a big box, right? And where you can find different type of experiments that you can apply for. So the detailed subdomains will be explained on the guide for applicants. So I suggest you that once you have an idea for application, you go to this guide for applicants and you can see if the field that you intend to cover is included in one of those 4 verticals. But anyway, going back to the focus of this kind of open call, so we are looking for here for academics or industrial partners, okay, that want to transfer their knowledge on these low energy computing solutions to what we call a technology receiver, right? So it will be around hardware or software technology, okay, and they will run together an experiment that will last for 9 months, okay, and that will start in January next year. So we are about to launch this open call in this month on the 15th of July. And you have 3 months, okay, for preparing your application and submit your application to us. Just for your information, this will be the last opportunity within this project for submitting this kind of application for this kind of calls. So as this is the 3rd occasion that we are launching this kind of technology transfer experiments, you will also find some inspirational examples in our webpage at SMART4ALL that can give you an idea of what we are looking for. But maybe, yes, as an example for you to take into account, one case could be, for instance, a low resource demanding compression algorithm that is developed by an SME thanks to a novel technology solution provided by a university from another country, right? So as I was mentioned, either a university or a company are the technology providers who are transferring this knowledge to a company, okay? It's always important that the providers can be a university or a company, but the receiver can just be a company. And the project can just be led by the industry, okay? Not by the academy in this case. And well, another example could be a hardware accelerator for image processing that is developed by an SME using a disruptive technology, in this case, provided by another SME, right? And in this case, we had these application experiments that was used for helping to solve the interpretation of some coronavirus variants detection. This is just 2 inspirational examples. You will have more of them, as I was mentioning in our webpage. So what is important also for you to know, for some reason I cannot, give me a second because I cannot, move the next slide. Here it is. So as I was mentioning, right, who can apply to our open calls? Well, we can receive applicants from the university or other academic institutions, okay, that can be the technology providers. And we can also receive applications from SMEs or slightly bigger companies, okay? So what we understand by this term is companies with less than 500 employees and with a turnover that is less than 100 million euros. So we need always to have a consortium of 2 entities. And as I was mentioning, the coordinator of this application and experiment will be always the industrial partner. What is also specific of the open call, and it might be a challenge for you, but do not worry, because we will help you in this aspect, is that this has to be a cross-border experiment, okay? So the entities need to come from 2 different countries. And also, and taking into account the specialist geographical scope of this project, we will always look for having at least 1 partner for the Southeastern Europe region. I will give you now more details on how this aspect will be covered. So at least 1 member from the region, but also we will give an extra point for any member that is coming from this region. And we want to pay special attention to the participation of Ukraine. So if we have a partner, or if you have a partner in your application experiment that is coming from Ukraine, we will give you an extra point, okay? So please look at the list of countries coming from this region, where we are not including Greece, because they also already have an important participation in this kind of application experiments, and we really want to promote the participation of those countries, right, that are underrepresented regions in this kind of programs. This is why we do a special effort here. Regarding what you will receive through this open call, it is about financial support, but also a mentoring program. Regarding the financial support, the total amount per experiment will be 80,000 euros. And the maximum amount per partner within that application experiment will be 60,000 euros. Please be aware that there is a rule under the Smart Anything Everywhere program that is hosting this project, okay? That if you have already participated in any Smart Anything Everywhere or I4MS in the case of manufacturing companies, if you were already beneficiary there is a limit of 100,000 euros that you can receive from these programs, okay? But other than that, normally the maximum amount that you will receive is 80,000 euros. I was also mentioning the mentoring program, and this is also very relevant, okay? Because the financial support will be for you to pay travels, consumables, and staff cost. But then you also will receive the support of the partners in this consortium. You will receive the technical support on how to run that experiment with that technology, how to apply and deploy that technology in your product or service. But you also receive the support of the business mentors, okay? So they will help you to identify other funding sources for you to go ahead with that experiment, and also how to go to market maybe with that experiment in a different way. And what is also very relevant in this kind of experiments, and companies value a lot at the end of the process, is the visibility that we can give you to your company, because you will enter into our marketplace of beneficiaries. You will be invited to participate in some events where you can be showcased, and you will also have access to international partners and other companies that will help you to go beyond your country. So how do we pay you? Well, this is again a feature of the cascade funding, right? The fact that you are signing a contract with Funding Box, not with the European Commission directly, is making things easier in terms of receiving the funding. So in other traditional projects, maybe you need to send all the justification of the expenses, all the details, and so on. This doesn't mean that it will not be the case here, okay? You need to be aware that at some moment you may receive an audit in the future, and then of course you need to explain how you use your resources. But for the project implementation and how you will receive the money, it will be through a lump sum. So we will distribute the total amount in 3 payments, okay, that we will give you once our mentoring committee, okay, will review the different milestones in this application experiment. So those milestones will be the initial plan you need to produce, the intermediate report, and the final report. Once they check and validate those 3 milestones, you will be paid on the percentages that are showcasing in the screen, okay, by the validation of the committee and by Funding Box directly. Also, maybe here you can see another example on how through cascade funding things go faster, right? Because these are the main deadlines here. So the open call will be launched on July 15th. You will have until October, but then, you know, the evaluation process and the contractual process will be really fast. And normally you will be starting the implementation of your application experiment on January next year, okay? So quite fast with regards to other more traditional calls that you might be part of in the past. So how to apply? We have a toolkit that you can find in our webpage. There you will have plenty of information, but also it's very important that you read carefully the guides and documents in our webpage. This is about to be finished and it will be published soon, but you can start consulting if you want after this event, the previous guide from the previous call, okay, because there will be not really big changes, but the guide for applicants will be ready very soon. We also have a space for the frequently asked questions, okay, where you can consult other questions from other participants, even in different languages. But if your question is not solved there, please contact us directly through the help desk that we have prepared for you, or also directly through the email that I'm sharing with you here. And now, maybe I want to use the occasion that we were invited to talk to companies, right, and participants from the Southeast and Central Europe region, because I would like to encourage you to be aware and to participate more in these kind of open calls. So for this, I will use the last 5 minutes of my slot to introduce you a little bit what we do at Funding Box and how we can help you with more opportunities, okay? So of course, today is the day for a SMART4ALL open call, but please do not forget that Cascade funding is a niche of funding and opportunities for companies in the region, okay? So maybe for those of you who do not know about Funding Box, we are a digital platform that is supporting innovators with access to funding and access to tech communities. Today, we are talking here about the funding that we are distributing. So Cascade funding, like the one I was presenting now, we have collected an amount of 160 million euros of Cascade funding that will be distributed through different open calls. These are some data about us. And maybe what is important for you to know is that we have 100 million euros to be distributed on the next 2 years on different open calls on these technology areas that you can see here. So for instance, we will be distributing Cascade funding for applications around AI for an amount of 20 million euros. I wanted to share with you this information because we were analyzing the results of the applications that we were receiving over the last 8 years, which is the time we were distributing Cascade funding. And as you can see, the participation of your region is really low, right? So I would like to look at this as an opportunity for you to be more active in this kind of open calls, okay? So there's really plenty of opportunities for you to be aware of and make use of them. So just a small example, right? And very similar to the open call I was presenting on SMART4ALL. In this case is the project Stairway that is supporting low-tech SMEs for them to experiment with AI solutions that are developed within the framework of the project. Again, here, the amount that we are giving is 60,000 euros for the application experiment together with a supporting program. So like this one and SMART4ALL, we have plenty of opportunities for you to apply. So I would really like to encourage you to visit our collection of funding opportunities at Funding Box, okay, where you can just follow, or you can subscribe to our newsletter, and then every month you will receive a summary of which are the open calls that are open at that moment, but also with opportunities for you to test other technologies through open pilots or other ways that are not even including funding, but will be also an occasion for you to experiment and to network, okay, with these international ecosystems. So I think I will stop here. I'm thanking you again for inviting me to this event, and I wish you a lot of success with the participation in this open call and the event.
Thank you very much, Maite. Now we are going to leave some space for questions from both audience that is present in the room and online. So if there are any questions for Maite, please. Okay, I see no hands, neither by the participants online nor here. So thank you, Maite, for this excellent introduction into the next open call that is going to start next week. So be prepared, be ready. Now we are going to have a presentation on how to fill in this application by Mr. Christos Antonopoulos. Actually, there's been a slight change in the program by the presenter. So because with us, Georgios Keramidas is not here, unfortunately, we will have both presentations in the next session presented by Christos. Yeah. Doesn't work. Sorry. I don't know why it's not working. No, let me just check on this screen. No, because I think it's because of the Zoom. It's a little bit, but yesterday it worked. Here we go.
This should work. No. No. Okay, perfect. So thank you, Boris. Hello, everyone. My name is Christos Antonopoulos. As Boris mentioned, I'm replacing George Keramidas. George is also a technical manager of SMART4ALL. Why is this? Oh. It's going by its own. I don't know why. Anyway, I will give a brief overview. What I would like to say, first of all, is that in SMART4ALL, we have devoted a lot of effort in helping candidate proposals and candidate consortia to prepare competitive proposals. This has been done through various ways, like webinars, local events, and in this context, we have prepared two presentations that we believe can be very useful. First, the first presentation to give indications on how to prepare a competitive and hopefully successful proposal for the SMART4ALL Open Calls. And the second presentation is what mistakes you should avoid during this preparation. So this is the first presentation. Although the idea when we prepared this presentation with George was focusing on the SMART4ALL Open Calls specifically, I believe that many indications, many comments here can be easily adapted to open calls in other projects, like the previous speaker presented, but also
when you are preparing, let's say, a full-blown H2020 proposal. So first of all, let's set the context. This presentation, also let me note that both presentations are available, freely available at the SMART4ALL website, alongside very rich material, additional material on how to write a competitive proposal. So I urge you to visit our site and download this presentation and the rest of the material we are offering. So first of all, we set the context. This presentation has to do with what ideas we are looking for here in SMART4ALL, and how to write a coherent proposal, which hopefully is going to be a successful proposal. We don't deal with administrative issues, and we don't deal with all requirements that you should read and be prepared and are presented in details in the guide for applicants. So first of all, SMART4ALL focuses on Pathfinder application experiment. So we need to clarify what this is. This entails a technology transfer between academia and industry, or between industry and industry. We have golden examples, and throughout the presentations, various examples are provided. For example, here, a university laboratory has developed a technical process, method, technology, whatever, but the university does not know how to commercialize it. Then the company, the SME, comes into play and provides this pathway towards commercialization, towards prototyping, and towards success story. A business scenario must be backed up with a market case. In general, we are looking for mature solutions. We are ideally looking for prototypes that are close to productization, or they are entering the market and they need an additional help, an additional push to move forward and go to the next steps. The technology transfer must be precise. You will see both in this presentation and in the next presentation this phrase being repeated. Be specific, be precise, be specific. This, I think, was also mentioned by our jury during the presentation, and I think through the questions I got this impression. We need to be very precise on what we want to do and how we plan to achieve it. A new product or an extra feature enabled to an existing product. This is what we want to see. We want to see specific ideas and feasible, sound ideas, realistic ideas. Engineering, manufacturing process being improved. This is also something we are looking for. Cost savings in various ways. Product, engineering, manufacturing, any way that you can save and reduce the cost. This is something very important for our application experiments. Now, another thing that you should take notice of is that we define three types of, let's say, players. Technology producer, technology receiver, productization partner. It is not mandatory, but highly suggested to allocate all partners involved in a consortium to one of this role, depending on whether you are preparing for an FTTE, where a consortium is comprised by 2 partners, or a CTT, where a consortium is comprised by 3 partners. It is very good to assign roles to the partners of the consortium. This gives the reviewers a clear idea that you know the role of each partner and what each partner is going to do during the execution of the experiment. And then you have different combinations depending, as I said, whether we're talking about FTTE or CTT. You can see more information in the guide for applicants for that. Then let's see what we ask during the actual writing of the proposal. The proposals are small, let's say, with respect to how much text we want you to write. So the text must be very, very dense, very, very coherent. Okay. We start with a tagline. Of course, we need to have a catchy phrase that gives immediately the idea of what we want to do. A brief description. There, it is very important to clarify or indicate clearly what are the benefits of all organizations participating, because all, and this is also a common criticism that we have seen a lot of times, all organizations must gain something from this application experiment. They must take out something. So indicate that. This is very important. Then select the vertical that your project best fits. This is also very important. As you may have seen, SMART4ALL focuses on 4 application domains: digitized agriculture, transport, environment, and digitized anything. In many cases, we have seen that proposals don't take the time to really think which category is the best, and they, let's say, select the easy solution, digitize anything. This is not suggested. It is suggested to identify a specific vertical from the rest 3 that best fits your solution. Once again, this gives a clear idea of that you know what you are trying to do and in which application area you are heading for. And then we go to the 3 main sections. We follow the same pattern that it is well known in all EC proposals: excellence, impact, and implementation. All 3 sections must be clearly depicted throughout the document and throughout the fields that you are asked to prepare your text. We suggest to start with the excellence and the impact. These are the sections that we have seen most criticism. Okay, and then go to the implementation. The projects are relatively small in duration. FTT and CTT are 9 months old in duration. So basically, the implementation can be relatively straightforward. This doesn't mean that you don't need to take attention, but it is, I believe, more important to start with the excellence and the impact. Concerning the excellence, one thing to take notice is whether the excellence is written from the perspective of the academia as well as the industry. So you give the technical excellence, but you also give the perspective and what the industry, what the SME wants to do with this experiment, let's say. Also, what it is requested in the proposal: experiment description. It is important to clearly identify how you are differentiated by the rest of relative ideas. We have seen this question in the pitching event, for example. What is your competition and why you are better, or what you are offering that the rest of the competition does not? Okay, so take notice on that. Novelty. We want novel ideas, but there you need to have a trade-off. You need to be ambitious, but you also need your proposal to be feasible, to be sound, as we say in the next bullet. This many times is a trade-off, and the best proposals are the proposals that actually find the optimum balance between ambitious and feasibility. TRL level is a way of indicating how mature is your solution and how much it's going to be progressed during the application experiment. Here is also a way of indicating that your solution and what you're saying is feasible. Let me give you an example that we had in the last international webinar. The question was, is it good to say that I'm going to go from TRL 3 to TRL 8 or something like that? For an open call, no, it's not. It's not realistic to say that with 80K that you are going to be funded, and in 9 months, you will get from TRL 3 to TRL 8. It is ambitious, it is impressive, but it is not very realistic. You should be very, very careful on that part. We also provide some indicative KPIs for excellence, for impact, and for work plan. Please review them and take notice that it does not mean that you need to cover everything, or that if you don't cover one of some of these, your proposal is not competitive. Okay, these are just suggestions based on our experience on how we can quantify excellence. And then we go to impact. Impact means resulting added value for the industry partner and customers. This is extremely important. You must be very clear what the industry partner, what the customers are going to get as an added value from this experiment. Okay, benefits for all collaborations, the market opportunity, define which is the market, define if this is a new market, if it's not a new market, how you are going to disrupt this market, how you are going to enter this market, and how you are going to place yourself with respect to the competition. Be precise and be specific. Which is the competition, and if possible, specific commercial strategies and scalability are suggested as well. Once again, indicative KPIs, you can have them, let's say, as a checklist. The more you cover, of course, the better, but once again, this doesn't mean that you need to cover everything. What I would like to note in this list is that impact KPIs is not all about money. It's not only about monetary revenues and stuff like that. Jobs that are going to be created, products to be improved, process to be improved, potential additional users and customers. These are also very important to highlight. Alongside, of course, revenue increase, reducing operation cost, etc. And then we go to the implementation. The implementation, let's say, we see three things. First of all, a concrete work plan, a realistic work plan that the work you are describing can be carried out in 9 months. Team, why this consortium is the best consortium to do the work? What are their advantages and disadvantages? How they complement each other, and how they are going to work together throughout the work plan. Okay, resources, of course, clearly indicate the person month for every partner, and also a good balance. Always make sure that you have a good balance between the budget that you are giving to someone and the work that this partner is going to do. In some cases, we have seen that, let's say, work package leader has 1 person month. This is not good. Okay, this raises questions. Okay, this don't apply. The first one does not apply. It is in the guide for applicants. Something that I don't know if the previous speaker mentioned is that we also want to promote solutions targeting for social sensitive groups. In the guide for applicants, we have a specific definition, because the first question you may have is, what do you mean by social sensitive groups? We have defined a set of this kind of end users, potential end users, and it is also very good to somehow try to adapt your idea to these social groups. Okay, this is another, let's say, tip. So that's it from this presentation, and the submission is going to open, as the previous speaker said, on 15th of July, and we are waiting for your proposals. Now, the second, let's have both presentations, since I'm going to make them both. The second presentation came from an idea we had. Okay, we are doing some suggestions with the first, but we got very interesting criticisms. Especially for FTTEs and CTTEs, we had a lot of proposals. So we had a very valuable feedback from our reviewers. And we thought, how can we capitalize that, and how can we use it to actually help more the potential consortia? And we thought that, okay, it is different to indicate what you need to do from what mistakes you should avoid. In some cases, they overlap, but at the end of the day, these are different indications, and we believe they are both useful. So what we have done is we have analyzed all reviews, and we have put in categories the criticisms that we saw appearing more and more and more in the proposals, and especially the criticisms that we saw that had a significant negative effect on the score at the end of the day. Because, as I said, in FTTs and CTTs, we have high competition, and the margin between a successful proposal and a non-successful proposal is usually 0.5. So this 0.5 degree makes all the difference. Once again, we follow the same strategy. 3 categories of grading: excellence, impact, work plan, and we have indicated the most important, let's say, indications from the reviewers. Experiment description. Try to be, let's say, more general in what potential your description can have. This is probably the only case where you need to be you need to be more general. You need to advertise what potential in, let's say, broader perspective this experiment can have. How the proposed solution compares to the competing solution systems and idea. Once again, who is your competition? How you differentiate from this competition. This is a very usual criticism that we have seen. In many cases, because the room for description is small, the authors, the writer of the proposal, fails to describe adequately the technical specification of the solution. Once again, we are not talking about 70-page proposals or 55 as it is now. So you need to be very, very careful when you write the text. Objectives clearly indicate the objective of the projects. Then, at innovation level description, in many cases, the experiment or the solution was not ambitious enough. Okay. Once again, this complements to the indication from the previous presentation. Your description must be, at the same time, ambitious enough and realistic enough. It is hard to achieve, but this is the goal. Added value, of course, and once again, the last bullet, how the participating organization will interact to achieve the successful outcome. Why you chose these partners for the consortium, why these partners are the right staff to achieve what you are describing. Okay. In general, excellence has received many, let's say, negative comments, but the section that receives most of the negative comments and the most important negative effect on the scoring is the impact. Most probably because most of the application experiments are written by engineers. Okay, so I'm also an engineer. So if you tell me do a market analysis, I don't know what to do completely. But you should take care of that. Okay, someone at the consortium should take care of that. And it is good not to be, let's say, a hardcore engineer. In many cases, the market analysis is not good. It's not distinct enough. The potential customers are not identified. You don't provide specific numbers. I saw questions, very good questions. Give me a projection. Give me numbers. This applies even to open call proposals. You don't need to do full analysis, but you need to provide some numbers, some figures. Who are the target customers? What are the needs of the product and how the product is best emphasized? The positive effect, okay, how the customer base is going to grow, and so on. Now, another thing that I also mentioned in the previous presentation is be specific if you are going to create a market, if there is a market. If there is not, you are going to create it, but be careful at that. If there is a market, you need to disrupt this market. There are other players. how you are going to place yourself, what piece of the pie you are targeting, and so on. I saw a very nice message yesterday. Vesna and Maria were kind enough to give us a tour to the incubator, and I saw a message on the wall saying, if you don't have a competitor, most probably you don't have a market. Okay, it was very nice. So make note of that, I would suggest at least. Then the benefits. Once again, the benefits are not only economic. Of course, money is the first thing that drives application experiments, especially SMEs, but not only. Okay, as we said in the previous presentation, creation of jobs. This kind of non-monetary incentives are also very important. And then we go to the implementation and the work plan. Once again, this can be relatively straightforward, and this, I believe, it is misunderstood that you don't need to take attention on that. This is a big mistake, and we have seen this 0.5, 1 point get lost in this, and it is a pity because it is easy, to be honest. Indicate specific person months. Indicate the relation of the partners and how the activities are going to complement, how you are going to schedule when someone is going to work, how is going to collaborate with a second or the third partner, and so on. Convincing timeline, of course. The last bullet, take your time and indicate specific deliverables and milestones. Yes, 9 months is not a big duration, but still you need to have some milestones. You need to have some checkpoints, right? Of course, avoid, let's say, logical and allow me to say stupid mistakes, as I said earlier. Work package leader has 1 person month, and the non-work package leader has many months, many person months. This is also not realistic. Unbalanced budget and requested funds or requested effort. These are things that the reviewer is going to spot immediately, and it is easy to make a comment. Okay. Limited information about the dedicated team. This is a comment that we have seen more and more lately. It goes back to the first suggestion. Highlight the advantages of each partner of the consortium and highlight how the team complements each other. Simple as that. Limited information once again for person month, per work package, etc. Better connection to activities, deliverables might also help. Okay. And these are right now all the mistakes that we have seen, we have written down, and we have prepared the presentation. Both the first presentation and the second presentation are updated after a complete round of KTE, FTTE, CTTE is ending. So now we are at the process of updating these presentations, but I believe that the general idea and the most important comments are going to be the same. Okay, so I hope that this kind of checklists, one checklist of what to do and a second checklist of what to avoid, can be useful, of course, for the SMART4ALL Open Calls, but not only. Okay. And of course, if you have any question, we can elaborate further. Thank you.
Thank you, Christos, very much for these wonderful presentations. Now we will move to the question and answer session for the basically for all presenters, but also for Christos, because usually this is where we have most questions in our sessions. If anybody online has any question, please raise your hand or turn on your microphone. We have a question from the audience. We have a microphone, sorry.
Could you please elaborate on the situation where you have 3 partners in the call, or give some examples? Thank you.
Yes. Once again, first of all, I will direct all interested partners to check the guide for applicants. But one thing is that the leading partner must be an SME. This is a point that I should have made. Apart from that, also the productizer also needs to be an SME. Typically, or let's say more frequently, what we see is that the technology provider can be a university. So we have an idea, we have an algorithm, we have a prototype, something like that. And then the technology receiver is also usually, but not always, an SME that integrates this solution to a product or to a prototype. In this way, the product or the prototype increases in features or in capabilities. For example, I have an IoT sensor, and university proposes a compression algorithm that allows me to increase the lifetime by 20%. Perfect. This is what we want. Or we increase the capacity, the wireless communication capacity, by 30%. This is very good. And then we need someone to make money out of it. In CTTE, it is suggested that the productizer is a third entity. Okay, so I have the sensor and I sell the sensor to, let's say, a company that is in agriculture, because the CTTEs, apart from being cross-border, they need to be cross-domain. So you need 2 different domains to collaborate. Okay, so I'm an IoT company. I enhance my solution exploiting an idea from a university, and then a precision agriculture like our winners, for example, in the pitching event, is going to take the solution and sell it and make money out of this. This is more or less a scenario that we have in mind, how in the CTT these 3 entities could work.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Okay, if there are no further questions, I would like to thank Christos once again for a wonderful presentation. Please note that these presentations and these types of webinars are being held regularly, also in local languages by our partners. So in case you have missed something and you need information maybe clarified to you, do not hesitate to search on the SMART4ALL website and see some of the previous webinars that we have recorded, and to follow us for the upcoming events and trainings. And now we are going to make a long break for the lunch. We will be back at 2:30 with splitting in working groups. There will be working groups only live and working groups only online. And I want to provide some information before we do that. I'm sorry you can't see me right now, but I'm kind of behind the camera. The first thing that we will have is several smaller groups. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Several smaller groups here live. As I have promised, you have seen the big colored papers there in the corridor. We are going to take them off now, and we are going to work on specific proposals. You are going to select your favorite one. And then we are going to discuss this, how this should be filled in. We have virtual scenarios, and we have the same proposals online on the Google Docs links that we have shared with our online participants. And for those who wish to work on digitized anything proposals, you should join group number 1. For those wishing to work on the digitized agriculture proposals, there are 2 of them. You should join the online group 2. And for those working and wishing to work on digitized environment and digitized transportation online, you should join the online group 3. But do it at 2:30. The links are different. This session will be closed now, and it will reopen at 3:30 when we are going to present the outcome of this workshop, and to, of course, give some final and closing remarks. Thank you all.